Vukovar, ready to go.
Let's hear it from the man himself. KRUNI Razov joins us. KRUNI, how is the Vukovar? Is it the opening of the Vukovar bar, or was that last week? Was it?
Yeah, that was last week. We had a bit of a jersey presentation last Thursday night, and the Vukovar bar and so forth was a good night.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, KRUNI.
Thanks, gents.
KRUNI, now, first of all, as we said, welcome to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Great to have you on board. There's been a lot of movement at Churchill Reserve. A lot of players coming and going. Tell us about some of the big name signings and also the big departures there. What can Dinamo fans look forward to this year with regards to their senior squad?
Well, we definitely, had a quick chat after the season last year, and we know where we went wrong and where we wanted to fix things and which players we identified in areas. And we've definitely lost a few. We've probably lost about 10 or 11 for various reasons, moving on and whatever it may be. But in the end of the day, we were last on the table last year, and it's not a position we'd like to be at. And we had to look at things very bluntly and openly and make the tough decisions sometimes. And we've done that, and we've moved on, and we've brought in 5 or 6 new players that we think can do the job a little bit better.
Terrific. In my time, paying attention to St Albans over the many years, it probably seems like the busiest pre-season in terms of player attraction coming to the club. But you also have the additional feature of Michael Grgic returning from injury as well.
Yes, absolutely. We sat down and we said, if we can get Michael Grgic back from his injury and another 4 or 5 players, that's where we wanted to go. That's where I wanted to go as a coach. So he's huge for the team. He's the captain, he's the leader. He's been there for many, many years. And to get him back, and hopefully soon enough, we'll get another one of our players that only played a couple of games last year, Zelfi, Afghani international. So he's coming back from injury. He shouldn't be too far away. So they're 2 players that you've had on your list that you haven't been able to use in the last year, which is big.
Yeah, highly influential, Michael, because he definitely pops up in those set pieces for you. But as we've seen him over the years, even when we had the pleasure of having him at North Geelong, he just manages to do those 1%ers that can save you games too when you've managed to fight your way back into a game. So, points are going to be crucial early on, and he's the sort of player that can come into the squad and give you a big lift.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gergs knows where he is in the squad and what he brings to the team. And when he's on, he's really, really good. So he's very important. So are the other players. But he's definitely a Dinamo boy.
So I was just going to say, speaking of grit and performance at a clinch time, you've managed to acquire the services of one Nikola Jurkovic.
You stole my thunder. I was about to talk about
to use as you please, because he can cover a lot of different roles for you.
Yeah, a huge addition to where we want to do and what we want to do, should I say. And centre half, number 6, wherever you put him, you're going to get 100%. Yeah. He's been in the system for a while. He knows what it's about. A new change, a bit of a change for him. He's been really good in the pre-season. So, looking forward to working with him.
Now, we're not going to talk too much about the private lives of these players, but with Nikola, he's been known to be a little bit sort of hot under the collar and get a red card from here and there. But in the off-season, apparently, he's got himself engaged. Now, well, does that mean that he's going to be a little bit more gentler, when it comes to, defenders, or is he still going to be that white line fever, and it's the old Nikola that we know that nothing's going to get past him one way or another? Is he going to mellow?
It's a tough question. We'll see in round 1, I guess, because we'll find out. He's been good in the pre-season. Yeah. He's very passionate. He's very hard. He has a lot of white line fever. He's just got to bring it to he's just got to be smarter at times how he does things. But you don't want to take those attributes that he has. They're the things we've brought him across, and that's why he's here. That's what we want from him.
Absolutely. And that, I guess, you've got a lot of young players that do come through the ranks. And as a seasoned campaigner, as a coach yourself, how do you? That's a really good question that we bring up. How do you sort of maintain that almost that controlled aggression without getting too enthusiastic? And look, some of the times, some of these games at NPL Victoria level are very physical. And that's why I love watching NPL Victoria. A-League doesn't have it for me. But how do you put a lid on some of that controlled aggression as a coach?
Sometimes, Tonchi, it's a bit hard. Sometimes some players are a little bit, less physical and less aggressive. Some are a little bit more. Like I said before, you don't want to take away those attributes that they bring to the club, but it's all about being smart about it. We've had a lot of discussions how we can be better in our physical ability and aggressive ability, yet, keep away from the referees in a certain extent and be smarter on the ball and off the ball where, you don't get pinged as much.
Yeah. And it's about being, I guess, creating a diversion, Josip? Maybe get the referees. I don't know. How do we go about doing that in this day and age?
Players like Nicola too are very crafty at, making sure that the decisions go their way as well. So it goes both ways, Tunch.
Yeah, we don't have the VAR at NPL level yet, do we?
No, sorry. No, we don't. We don't. Look, aside from players, when I look at your coaching staff, KRUNI, you'd have to be one of the best coaching staffs going around. You've got your assistant in Paul Donnelly, and you've got none other than the well-experienced and one of my favourite coaches going around, Cracker, Robbie Klejcic, and he's been supported by Patrick Mannion. So how's that all going internally, the dynamics with the coaching and supporting one another?
Really, really well. Worked with Rob last year. Rob came on board last year. Cracker, so got to know him a lot more through the year last year, and he stayed on board, thoroughly enjoyed himself. So it's been really good there. Pat was the under 19s coach last year, did really well with them in terms of the way we want to play and so forth. So he's been promoted there. And Paul Donnelly, we made a bit of a change in the assistant coach's role last year. We looked to mix things up a bit, and Paul's name has been on my radar for a while. Haven't known him personally, but through a lot of people, and we made contact, and it's gone really, really well up until to now. So really, really excited to be working with Paul.
Yeah, good on you. I can say from a former administrator's perspective, whenever I've looked for coaches, he's always appeared in the top 3 names that you've heard players refer to or past players refer to, and then you go, okay, well, I'll look into this one.
Yep. No, it's been really, really good. The pre-season's been really good.
Now, KRUNI, the pre-season ends officially for Dinamo on Saturday afternoon, 5:30 p.m. at SS Anderson Reserve against Port Melbourne Sharks. Now, Port Melbourne, I think last year finished 7th or 8th. They finished in a pretty good position before the season was called off after 18 rounds. Do you know much about Port Melbourne, like, their off-season recruiting and form and things like that? How are they? Are they what they were like last year? Have they dropped in quality?
They've signed a few experienced players. I think that, as the AFL says, I think they see themselves in that window where they can make the 6, and I think they'll be very close to making the 6 this year if all goes to plan. Like I said, they've got Josh Wilkins from Heidelberg, Ruthven's come there, so they've picked up a few experienced players. They played their ground really well. Sorry,
Bafush.
Yes, he's come across as well up front. So they've gone out and picked up a fair few players. I think they'll be a very good side. They play a decent brand of football as well. So it's not going to be an easy task, that's for sure, especially after last year, what they've done to us.
Yeah, and at SS Anderson, they're always a different prospect. I know when they travelled, that they've never been that consistent team. But something, we all know when we play in front of our own, we play in our own clubs, we grow another 10 foot tall. But there's something about SS Anderson on those night matches that's a little bit mystique, a little bit anything can happen. I know round 1 last year when Knights played there, it was a disaster from a referee perspective, and it just, I don't know. There's always some sort of splice whenever North's played there over the years. There's always some sort of, whether it's a dubious call or the crowd gets involved, and you're really close to the lines too, so the tension rises quick.
It is a great atmosphere though at Port Melbourne, and like you said, it's one of those pitches they play well. It's very hard to bring points away from. The only positive, if there's any positive, is it's not going to be a night match. It's a 5:30 Saturday kickoff.
Yeah,
that might help us.
Yeah,
that might help us.
Savings.
Yeah, that would be good, mate. Now, I guess now is an opportune time to actually kind of announce to everyone that next week the The episode 6 will be a St. Albans Dinamo themed show. We will have the president, Ilya Dragicevic, coming on, and Dinamo will be the club in focus. And that will be ahead of the big Croatian derby, the first home game of the season against Dandenong City. And that's on the Sunday, 27th of February. 5 p.m. kickoff. That's going to be a big, big game. You're liking the home games being played on a Sunday evening, and you're going to stick to that formula this year, are you?
Yes, we will. No, the first 3 games, I think it's the first 3 games, Dandy City, 5 o'clock, South Melbourne, 5 o'clock, and I think the Melbourne Knights is round 6. That'll be a 6 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. We enjoy our Sundays. We find it's the juniors are there and we get a bit more of a crowd. So we will stay with the Sunday kickoff, but there is one Friday night. We're going to try one Friday night game mid-year. I think it's against the Bentley Greens.
Oakley, mate. Oakley on April 1st.
Oh, is it Oakley?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was actually going to ask you about that. Was that something out of the packet with the marketing crew behind the scenes, with Ilya pulling the strings? Has he got something special lined up for April Fools? And
No, I don't know if there's anything special. We were even talking about it last year. The boys and the players, and a lot of people around the club wanted to have a Friday night game just to experience it under lights at Churchill Reserve. So they said they're going to do one, and there you go. It's come through.
Oh, excellent. Something to look forward to. Like, there's a lot to look forward to in season 2022. Hopefully that damn Corona doesn't interfere for a 3rd year running. But KRUNI, all the very best. And hopefully we'll probably get one of your players on next week. We'll give you a bit of a break from the media commitments. But we look forward to next week having St. Albans Dinamo as our featured club in focus. Ilya Dragicevic, the new president, and hopefully someone from the playing staff. But yeah. On that note, wishing you all the best and wishing Dinamo all the very, very best. And not just your Dinamo, St. Albans Dinamo, but, we want Dinamo Zagreb as well to beat Sevilla Friday morning. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, KRUNI.
No worries. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Good.